Now let's take a look at A Journey to the West. We've now reached the first stop. Hawaii has passed. The second stop, Boulder, has also passed. Now we're at the third stop, the Rocky Mountain Dharma Center. The first lecture at the Rocky Mountain Dharma Center. Before that, on the first day after arriving, he gave blessings to everyone. The second day, His Holiness conferred empowerments. His Holiness's entire schedule was arranged like this, so everyone should also be able to arrange their own time and do meaningful things every day. This is very important. We shouldn't let every day pass by without accomplishing anything meaningful. That's not right. Please look carefully at this schedule. You should know that basically there was no time to adjust to jet lag, nor even a single day of rest. Looking at it now, I still find it quite surprising. At the time, I wasn't aware of it myself. I just followed along with the Guru in a daze I didn't really understand. But looking back now at that schedule, His Holiness's health wasn't great, and on top of that, being abroad, there still wasn't any rest time arranged. So in the future, when our Dharma friends here go out to propagate the Dharma and benefit beings, they should also have this kind of spirit. This is very important. So the first lecture on the flight of the Garuda, from July 2nd to July 4th, His Holiness taught 5 lectures. His Holiness divided it into 5 lectures to teach the Trekchö section of the flight of the Garuda. In each lecture, he only concisely explained the verses without elaborating too much. So I didn't transcribe the full content of these teachings, but selectively recorded some instructions. Actually, I later thought that in our A Journey to the West, the content is already quite extensive. Originally, I thought for the Chetsun Nyingtig, since many people had never received it before, I included all 4 lectures this time. At the next stop, I included everything. For the Peaceful Manjushri, as I mentioned earlier, I included everything in the Washington section. The flight of the Garuda has been transcribed in Tibetan, but later I thought it would require a separate book. Although His Holiness's literal explanations, because at that time his health wasn't very good. So basically, apart from the literal explanations, some other instructions that emerged in between, I've excerpted all of them from each day's lecture. So apart from the literal meaning, he didn't elaborate much. But later I thought if the literal explanations could be compiled into a separate book, that might also be necessary. Indeed, where His Holiness taught the flight of the Garuda, he also taught it once or twice at the academy. But teaching it abroad, this should have been the first time. This might be considered in the future. Regardless, not missing a single word of what the Guru taught, if compiled, would be wonderful. But in A Journey to the West, I just record whatever was taught each day. I've excerpted some important parts in between, because if I included all 5 lectures, the flight of the Garuda verses alone, as you know, there are quite a lot. So here I've excerpted some of the instructions. In the future, if there's time, I'd really like to compile both the Tibetan and Chinese versions. On July 2nd, prior to the actual teaching, His Holiness first shared some words to remind everyone. Now, I am going to give you the teaching that has an auspicious connection with you. This probably refers to the flight of the Garuda. Right, I'll explain in a moment. Whatever virtuous deed you perform, be it listening to the Dharma, practicing the Dharma, prostrating, circumambulating, or making confessions, the first and foremost thing to do is to give rise to bodhicitta. This is indispensable. His Holiness was going to teach them the Dharma with auspicious connection, and everyone should generate bodhicitta. How do you generate supreme bodhicitta? You should reflect deeply in your mind. In order to place all sentient beings in the perfect, complete, and unsurpassable enlightenment, a state of permanent peace and happiness, I myself must attain Buddhahood as soon as possible. It is only through the engagement of this profound teaching that I will be able to swiftly and easily attain Buddhahood. This is the way of generating supreme bodhicitta. This applies to every day and to everything we do. Whether circumambulating or listening to teachings, it's easy to say. I've also said this countless times. But when it comes to actually doing it, can we do it every time? If not, sometimes I feel quite ashamed. Throughout a lifetime of teaching the Dharma, whether giving teachings, circumambulating, or prostrating, sometimes I remember to do it, but sometimes I really, including just now, did I think about it. Just now I said for all sentient beings. But I didn't even realize it myself. It seems like I just said it out of habit without actually thinking about it. If I, as the teacher, didn't think about it, then you all probably, I don't know. Maybe many of you did think about it, I don't know. Before the main teaching, I'd like to share two things with all of you. First, always be mindful to practice the Dharma step by step from the basic level to the advanced level without mixing the order of how it should be. In other words, beginners should not perform the conduct of yogis of a higher level. This part has been slightly revised. Advanced practitioners should not engage in basic practices on the level of Shravakas. As the stainless light states, beginners should not perform the conduct of yogis. Yogis should not perform the conduct of Mahasiddhas. Mahasiddhas should not perform the conduct of the omniscient ones. For you to carry this instruction into your Dharma practice is my first wish, His Holiness said. We should progress step by step. If you're not a Mahasiddha, don't do what Mahasiddhas do. You're still far from that. So if you're a beginner, then practice according to a beginner's conduct. Second, since you have been practicing both Mahamudra and Dzogchen in an unbiased way, I hope you will persevere in your practice in this manner without abandoning either of them. This is my second wish. So what exactly is the relationship between Mahamudra and Dzogchen? We mentioned this a bit earlier. It must be known that Mahamudra corresponds to the feet that walk the road, and Dzogchen corresponds to the eyes that see the road. Why? Mahamudra emphasizes the skillful meditative practice that enables you to abide single-pointedly, and Dzogchen emphasizes the ability to directly recognize the view that enables you to clearly see the nature of mind. Both are indispensable. The absence of either will make ultimate enlightenment unattainable. Just like it is very difficult to reach a destination if you do not have eyes or feet, you can't go anywhere. Similarly, lacking the view of Dzogchen and practicing the skillful meditative practice of Mahamudra alone will not enable you to cut through the root of samsara. The same goes for Dzogchen. If you just focus on the view of Dzogchen intellectually and fail to apply the meditative practice of Mahamudra, merely analyzing through reasoning, Buddhahood is also not achieved. This is why, in the oral transmissions of great scholars and Mahasiddhas in India and the land of Tibet, these two practices were always combined together. This is a tradition. The emanation of Lord Manjushri, Sakya Pandita Kunga Gyaltsen once said, when the foolish practice Mahamudra, for the most part, it causes them to be born as animals, because without any pith instructions, they just directly or to take rebirth in the formless realm, or to take rebirth in the formless realm, or to fall into the Shravaka state of cessation of perception and feeling. This means practicing shamatha without vipassana is a state of indifference that will only cause you to remain in samsara. Apart from that, there's no liberation. It's meaningless. This is what Sakya Pandita said. Also, the Vidyadhara Jigme Lingpa, Rikzin Jigme Lingpa, also said, clinging to shamatha where the mind is clear and empty, discerning the nature of all phenomena with a distracted mind, and abiding in the state of indifference with no action. These three are actually the deviations from the path of Dzogchen. Just now, whether clinging to clarity or emptiness, a shamatha mind or without genuine vipassana, a scattered conceptual mind, or a state of indifference, these three are not the authentic view of Dzogchen. You should know that vipassana without shamatha will merely lead to a state of discrimination and distraction, which cannot lead to enlightenment. Therefore, I encourage you to always stick to your present practice now and in the future, applying the instructions of both Mahamudra and Dzogchen without separating them, without making them separate on your spiritual path. As mentioned before, this is my second wish. His Holiness's wishes for this Dharma center, actually His Holiness's wishes for them apply to us as well. Many of us also have great faith in both Dzogchen and Mahamudra. Although we're more familiar with Dzogchen, many people may not have received Mahamudra teachings. Actually, for Mahamudra we do have some transmissions, including the Ganges Mahamudra. If there's an opportunity in the future, we'll see. Of course, you need to rely on a perfectly qualified teacher to engage in such practice. You cannot accomplish it by your own effort alone. Many of you have close connections with many lamas in the Kagyu lineage. In your area, there are actually some Nyingmapa teachers as well, who are endowed with inconceivable qualities. They are truly extraordinary. It will be of great benefit if you can invite them and respectfully receive teachings and instructions from them. Otherwise, favorable conditions for inviting teachers from faraway Tibetan regions are difficult to come by. His Holiness said, "Take me as an example. I'm old and suffering from illness. Considering that I also have a lot of disciples at my Dharma center who need my guidance, and due to various internal and external factors, except for this trip to the US, I am afraid that this is probably the last time for me to come here." His Holiness mentioned this about 4 times, I recall. He mentioned it here and once before, and also later in Boston. Yes, he mentioned it several times. So this was His Holiness's thinking at the time. Actually, being 60 years old, by some standards today, might not be considered very old. His Holiness's illness at that time wasn't that severe either. Apart from his usual ailments, there wasn't anything else. But His Holiness probably thought this was a one-time Dharma activity. At that time, it seemed that in His Holiness's entire schedule of Dharma activities, he had only planned to come once. Due to various internal and external factors, except for this time, he probably wouldn't have another chance to come here. Nevertheless, I hope we can build closer and deeper connections through this trip. That is, focusing on the Buddha Dharma, we can benefit each other by exchanging the teachings, having discussions, resolving doubts, as well as sharing experiences about our personal practices. Such a gathering can benefit each other. This is completely different from worldly assemblies, such as those with a political agenda. I also feel my disciples will have a good affinity with you in the future. In the future, our connection with the Kagyu lineage and Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, His Holiness mentioned this several times back then. I think about 3 times. Actually, later on, we've also visited some of their related Dharma centers. Indeed, when Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche's name is mentioned, they all have great faith. Later, we also had some connections, although not very close, but quite a lot of personal exchanges. And this time, when we needed some related materials, they were very cooperative. So I'm also thinking this time in the future to different places, especially those farther away, to give each place some copies. By then in English, Tibetan and Chinese as well. Although this isn't a publicly published book, it's for our internal use as our own reference material. This isn't a publicly published book, but according to relevant religious policies, monasteries are allowed to produce internal materials. This is clearly stipulated. So this also counts as internal material. We Buddhists are not selling this to make money. It's not like that. For internal distribution, there's a cost price, or we share it as a Dharma connection. I'm thinking of giving more copies of the Tibetan and English versions. The English version is now completely finished. Japanese and French too, although not fully completed yet, but at least partially. Before His Holiness's memorial ceremony, a symbolic portion should be completed. So I'm very grateful to all the Dharma friends from around the world who translate into various languages. This is also a way of repaying His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok's kindness. This year marks the 20th anniversary of His Holiness's passing. Through this way, we should let people around the world know that His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok once lived in this world and propagated the Dharma in this way. His entire journey of teaching throughout Tibet, from his teens to his 70s, we don't need to elaborate on. His extensive biography covers many aspects in great detail, but we are only documenting His Holiness's journey over 6 months or so, a record of his experiences. Presenting this in different languages is also a way of remembering His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok, of expressing gratitude to him and of praying to him. This is one way. So here we may look for some volunteers. If you're interested in this, all the Khenpos and Khenmos can take a look. Internally, by that time, some of you may not have received the Journey to the West book yet. Gradually, because right now it's a bit difficult to do it all at once. But basically everyone should have a set. If there are more, we'll give them out later. And for the Tibetan version, by that time, if the Tibetan and English versions are ready, we'll share them as Dharma connections where appropriate or at cost price. We ourselves also contribute to making these. This is not for profit. If we were to do this for profit, I could make a CD or a book. and sell it to earn some money, but that money would be useless. It's better to put the money back into the books. So from all perspectives, introducing His Holiness Jigme Lingpa in different languages this year is our way of expressing gratitude to the Guru. Out there, many people are especially this year, in this world, in this special world. If many people can receive or read this book, perhaps it will have some meaning. That's how we see it. His Holiness's 3-month journey, we can visualize going abroad with His Holiness at that time. Actually, when going abroad, apart from the teachings given, there wasn't much more. I know this clearly, and now the audio and video recordings should be clear. His Holiness's blessings in person were certainly different, but apart from that, there isn't much else. So this time, our compilation, this collection of materials, perhaps has some value. At that time, I didn't think of it this way, but I kept recording. Maybe I had a bit of a tendency in this regard. I don't know why, I just kept thinking, oh, this might be very important someday. I should record the instructions His Holiness gave at that time. I kept thinking this way. So this is also a way of repaying everyone's kindness. Many people here truly have great faith in the Guru. Indeed, great faith. Because much of what you now possess, your kindness, your compassion, actually comes from His Holiness Jigme Lingpa. If he hadn't been here, perhaps some of us here had this virtuous connection, but quite a few might not have had the chance to ordain, might not have had today. Many successful people say, I'm so grateful to so-and-so. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. So for many of us here today, his blessings and his Dharma lineage are very much connected. So His Holiness said here that this is completely different from worldly politics. These are completely different. My disciples will have a good affinity with you in the future. I truly hope we can build auspicious and close connections. This is just my heartfelt wishes and blessings with no political or economic agenda whatsoever. His Holiness was somewhat concerned at that time. China-US relations were quite complicated then. It's still the same now, sometimes good, sometimes not. So there was absolutely no... Actually, His Holiness never got involved in any politics. As for economics, needless to say. Some people used to say, if you go to America, you might get lots of dollars. Actually, it wasn't like that at all. His Holiness went purely for the purpose of propagating the Dharma and benefiting beings. When we go out to teach the Dharma in the future, we shouldn't have any motives, including the 8 worldly concerns. Having political motives is unlikely. Generally, monastics and practitioners don't participate in any politics. It's a very complicated matter. That's not possible. But economic motives are hard to say. Let me go out and make some money, or some fake rinpoches. They often go to certain places for economic purposes. We won't have that. His Holiness also said this at that time. Based on pure motivation, the above are my pieces of advice to you with regard to practicing the Dharma and building connections with the Gurus. Now we are going to study Shabkar Tsokdruk Rangdrol's The Flight of the Garuda, the Trekcho section. The title seems slightly different from before. All right, haha, since my eyes cannot clearly see the text, my ears help me to read it. I will explain the root text while listening to its recording. At that time, His Holiness couldn't find his recorder for a while, because the flight of the Garuda, as I mentioned at the beginning, they had this request. So I had Chaimi Rinzin record the flight of the Garuda. It was put in His Holiness's black recorder at that time. Then His Holiness turned on the black recorder and began the teaching. In the morning, he started from the beginning of the flight of the Garuda, Namo Gurubhya. Starting from that verse at the beginning, from the illuminating sun disk of your loving wisdom, limitless rays of compassionate light shine forth. I pay homage to Chokyi Gyalpo, who in a single instant dispels the darkness of ignorance of all beings in the 3 realms. This is the first verse. Then he continued teaching until the end. This is the song which indicates how to ascertain the character of basic mind in its natural state. As the lecture neared its end, His Holiness said, "Originally I thought of giving the oral transmission to everyone each day over 5 lectures, but it seems the oral transmission given abroad isn't very... We'll figure something out. Let's talk about it tomorrow." At the end of this lecture, His Holiness summarized the teaching. When you practice shamatha, it is not enough to just remain in single-pointed meditative absorption. You need to determine the genuine mind as it is during the single-pointed meditative absorption, and this constitutes the path of Mahamudra. His Holiness explained this very concisely here. Then further investigate the nature of mind and recognize its true reality. That is the path of the great perfection. One is the one who abides, one is the one who investigates, or the original face of mind itself. Therefore, when it comes to following the path of Mahamudra or the path of the great perfection, their essences are the same. If the mind exists, ascertain its existence. If it does not exist, ascertain its non-existence. Just like this, thoroughly investigate the very nature of mind. It sounds simple when explained this way, but actually one understands it better through the approach of the wise. Dzogchen is roughly like this. All right, let's stop here for today.
Bandara Banma Sodargye